Hello, and welcome to God Isn't Religious. I'm glad you guys are back. My name is John. Thank you for being here. Please have a pen and paper ready. We're going to go over a lot of things in this episode, and I don't want you to miss it. I'm going to try not to speak fast, but there's a lot in here, so bear with me, okay? Let's get right into it. Who are you really? Why are we here? What is our purpose? Why did God create the earth and humans, and what is his plan for your life? Well, we have to start at the basics because religion and society are way off the mark. So I want to start by showing you this picture of a lion. Lions to me are the most powerful examples of dominion. That's the king of the jungle. And we're going to talk about dominion, kingship, rulership, and who you really are today. As we're talking, keep the picture of the lion in the back of your mind. I want to speak to you about rediscovering the kingdom of kings. This will be one of the most important messages you've ever heard, okay? Because I'm going to share with you who you really are and how to become it, okay? I want to share with you God's original plan for humanity and God's design for you as a human. The Bible is not a religious book. The Bible is not about religion at all. Now, the Bible does talk about religion. One example would be 1 Kings 18. Okay, in there we see Elijah, and he's confronting the prophets of Baal and Asherah. Okay, they were challenging each other. He was calling on the God of heaven. They were calling on their gods, Baal and Asherah. And it says Elijah was mocking them. They were screaming and shouting and dancing and cutting themselves. They looked stupid. Okay, the Bible talks about pagans, people who worship anything and everything, and how silly they are. Anytime religion is mentioned in the Bible, it is always associated with foolishness, ignorance, and misguided teachings. The Bible is not a religious book. Write this down, please. First, the Bible is about a king. Second, the Bible is about a kingdom. Third, the Bible is about a royal family. Fourth, the Bible is about a government. Fifth, the Bible is about colonization. It's about the colonization of earth by heaven. And sixth, the Bible is about a restoration program. So, the Bible has been misunderstood. Do not compare the Bible to the Quran, to the writings of Buddha, to the quotes of the Maharaj, or to the wise sayings of Confucius. The Bible is not about religion. The Bible is about a king, a kingdom, and his royal family. So we need to understand the kingship of God and how you were designed by God not to be subjects in his kingdom, but to be kings in his kingdom. Lions. Lions aren't afraid of anything. Lions are amazing and interesting. It is the lion's nature that I discovered, then I researched, and this changed my life. And I want to leave you with some important principles about how you can discover who you are and then determine how to become it. We need to understand our areas of dominion. So, let's begin with a few thoughts about God's plan. Write this down, please. God's original purpose was to extend his invisible kingdom of heaven to earth. If someone asks you, what's the summary of God's purpose? What's the summary of the Bible? That's it. God's idea was to extend his invisible kingdom of heaven to the visible planet Earth. In other words, he wanted to colonize Earth with the kingdom of heaven, and he wanted to colonize it with his children. So he created the planet, or the domain, first. Then he wanted to establish a kingdom or a country of kings. Stay with me. My wife is Nigerian, and her country is a good example of colonization and kingship. Nigeria used to be a colony of a kingdom. They were ruled by a king and queen for years, Great Britain. Just like many countries of many of the countries in Africa, they were all colonized by different kingdoms. Same in the Caribbean, the West Indies. They were all colonies of different kingdoms. Some of them still are today. Okay? Now, if you notice and if you study the history of colonization, the people living in them were never called citizens. they were called subjects. This is important because it affects your mentality. This is probably why Nigeria and many other countries like it are struggling with effective leadership and effective rulership because the history is still with them. So let's look at the word subject. What's the first syllable? Sub. Sub means below. This is very serious. So all kingdoms on earth call the people living in the colonies subjects. This means that you are below the class. You are not in the king's category. You are not in the queen's family. Okay, you are below. So even the name they give you relegates you to being below them. You are not in their class. Here's some good news. God is completely opposite. His is the only kingdom in history, even today, where the people in the colony are not subjects. God's plan was not to fill his country with subjects, but to fill it with his offspring. God made you a country of kings, and I need to explain this to you because we think that a king has to rule people. This is where the Bible becomes very challenging. Write this down, please. You were created to be a dominator, but not over people. Now remember, you are all kings. Kingship is not about ruling people. It's about ruling a domain. So you were designed by God to dominate in an area of gifting. Your gifting then is what you serve to other people. So people are attracted to you because of your gift, and that elevates you. Write this down. Your domain is the area of gifting that you were created to influence and dominate the world with. Every human being came to earth with at least a primary gift. God did not create anybody empty. Everybody came to earth with something, and that something is needed by all of us. The sad part is, most people die and never discover that something. So they end up living in a job, dying in a career, and no one remembers them. The plan of God was not for you to be the king over people. He created you to be the king over a gift, and then you serve that gift to humanity. Pro athletes, musicians, dancers, skilled tradesmen like, carpenters, painters, chefs, teachers, inventors, they are all serving their gifts, and their gifts elevate them. Apple is an example of serving their gift of technology, and they dominate the cell phone market. Let's keep going. Let's take it further. Write this down, please. God's original plan was not a kingdom ruled by a king. His plan was to have a kingdom of kings. Now, the church preaches this. The church sings songs about King of Kings, and they have no idea what it means. So let's look at humanity, because we have earthly examples of this concept. The King of Portugal in the late 1700s, early 1800s, he had a rough life. His wife hated him. She conspired against him. His kids didn't like him. And then one day when his son got older, he wanted to be a king himself. Well, you can't have two kings in one kingdom. And to be a king, you need what? You need a domain, a territory, something to rule over. So the son sets out, and he goes to Brazil, and he becomes king of Brazil. Now, while the son stays in Brazil, he is a king. But if the son goes back to Portugal, he is under the authority of his father, the king. The son is a king in his territory, but he is not a king in his father's territory. So in essence, the king of Portugal was the king of a king. This is why God doesn't call himself king of subjects. He calls himself what? King of kings. And that's exactly what he means. God doesn't mean Pharaoh or Caesar or Henry VIII or Louis XIV or Queen Elizabeth or President so-and-so. He means you. You are also kings. To really understand this, we need to talk about creation. We need to go to the very beginning because this is so important for you to understand who you are. Religion doesn't teach this because religion doesn't want you to know who you are. Because if you know who you are, religion can't control you, and that's a problem for religion. So, let's go to the beginning. Genesis 1 talks about creation. Now, the Bible tells us that the invisible reality of God's kingdom is actually more real than the physical reality that we know of. It says, what is seen was made by what is unseen. Okay? God created the heavens and the earth out of nothing. Existence, time, life, reality as we know it. In the beginning stage, it says that the earth was formless and that the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters and everything was dark. Okay? So next he creates light, and he separates light and dark, and he creates night and day. Then he separates the waters, and he creates this vault. Now scholars like to debate about what this means, but it's actually very, very simple. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. God is creating basically our atmosphere, including the ozone layer. Okay, clouds. Clouds are the most visible sign of water in the sky. But even on clear days, there is always water in the sky. Humidity. Humidity also affects the ozone layer. Okay, this is the vault. Now, the Hebrew word here is rakia, which means solid surface or expanse or firmament. Okay, and this is where theology has a problem. But this reference obviously doesn't mean solid surface, because just a few chapters down in verse 20, it says that birds are flying in the vault. Hello? Okay, can't be solid. So next, then he gathers all the waters and he makes dry ground. He calls dry ground out of the waters. This is important. God is making our domain. Okay? Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. God starts talking to his creations and he starts telling them to bring forth other creations. Watch this. Whenever God wanted to make something in our reality, in our domain, he speaks to what he wants it made out of. And he tells what he wants it made out of exactly what he wants made. Pause. Rewind that. God says, let the land produce vegetation, plants, trees, crops, etc. And he tells them to produce seeds after their own kind. Apple trees only make apple seeds, orange trees only make orange seeds, and so on. Plants are 100% water and dirt. Pay attention. Next, he speaks to the expanse, the vault, the firmament, and he tells it to produce these lights. So we have lights by day and by night. He's making stars. He's speaking to space. Space is not empty. Space is made up of basically 100% gases. Stars are made up of 100% gases. Pay attention. Next, he speaks to the earth, water and dirt. He tells it to bring forth fish and birds, and that they must reproduce according to their kind. Okay? Birds are 100% water and dirt. Then he talks to the land again. He tells it to produce living creatures, animals, insects, everything that moves on the ground, and that they reproduce according to their kind. Follow me. Stay with me. Okay? The grounds came out of the waters. Animals are 100% water and dirt. Now here's the big part. Pay attention. When God created you, he speaks to himself. Genesis 1:26. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule. Now, the Hebrew word used here is mamlaka. It means kingdom, rule, domain, reign. We get the English words govern, government, and governor from this word. So he says, let them rule. Over what? He tells you. The fish, the birds, the plants, all the wild animals, all the creatures that move along the ground. So then it says, so God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them male and female. Verse 28, and he tells us, fill the earth, subdue it, rule over it. Now, please note, there are no people yet. God never says to rule over people, only the earth. It's important to remember that our fellow humans don't have scales or fins or leaves or branches or wings or feathers or hooves, horns, or roots. We are to dominate the earth, not people. This is why people naturally resist oppression. You don't have to teach them to resist it. They do it naturally. Any form of dominion of a human is ungodly and out of order. This is why God hates oppression, segregation, racism, dictatorships, etc., because it goes against the nature of the human spirit, the one that's made in God's image. Now, the word image means substance, nature, and character. You were created with God's character to be the dominator. The word likeness means we have the ability to function like God. And what I like about God's statement is that he says, let them have dominion. That's to all of us. He doesn't say, let some of them have dominion. Like he doesn't say, let the smart ones or the rich ones or the strong ones or the tall ones or the good-looking ones or the white ones, the black ones, the Asian ones. He says, let all of them have dominion over the earth. The instruction was given to all of us. That means, according to our government constitution, the Bible, every human being is legally given the right to rule the earth, but not other human beings. Let's keep going. We need to really understand who you are. We're going to drive this point home. Okay? King David wrote Psalms 8. When he became king, the prophet Samuel anointed him and called him a man after God's own heart. The word heart there, and pretty much everywhere else in the Bible, means mind. Samuel was saying David thinks like God. David wrote Psalms 8. So Psalms 8, 5 through 8, King David is talking about humans in creation. And this is what he says. You have made them a little lower than Elohim. Elohim means God. We are a little lower than God. Some Bibles have this incorrectly translated to a little lower than angels. That's not correct. Angels are below humans. Then it says, and you have crowned them with glory and honor. You have made them rulers over the works of your hands, creation. You put everything under their feet. And then David lists the things that we're supposed to rule over, just like Genesis, all the flocks, herds, animals, birds, fish, etc. Notice, again, he doesn't mention ruling people. And this was a king, okay? God made us in his image. He made us a little lower than himself. This is a powerful revelation. So, everyone listening to this is a ruler. And that's what king means. King means one who sets the standard. Now, if you remember when you were in school, on your way to school, you packed your backpack and you took some books, you took pencils, pens, paper, and then you took a little piece of wood or plastic. You remember what it was called? A ruler. Do you know why it was called a ruler? Because when you use it, it draws a line. That's why it's called a ruler. A line represents a standard. The minute you draw a line, you create control. You create separation. That's what ruling means. Ruler means the one who sets the standard, who controls the environment, who determines what happens in the world. That's a ruler. God created you to be the standard setters of earth. He is the King of Kings. Write this down, please. God's plan was to have corporate kingship. Now, if we don't get this concept, we will always be oppressed by our histories. We are not subjects. We are a royal priesthood, a holy nation. More government talk, okay? We are a nation of royalty. Now, I want to show you how this corporate kingship works. So make a note of this. God's greatest plan and his purpose was not to create a kingdom with a king. It was to create a kingdom of kings. That means everybody listening to this, race, ethnicity, money, background, belief system, it doesn't matter. We are all equal. We are different, but we are equal. No one is greater or better or more important or more significant than anyone else. We are all kings, royalty. The Bible says we are all sons of God. God is the king of the universe. If you are his child, then you are heirs to his throne. This is why God doesn't come down and fix all our problems, because God gave us rulership, kingship. Okay? This is why God doesn't force people to do anything, because he would violate his own rules of kingship. He gave us dominion over the earth. Now, St. Augustine gave us a powerful quote, and it's extremely accurate. And it goes, without God, we cannot. Without us, God will not. Because we have legal authority and rulership over the earth. So our problem with dominion is that since the fall of man, Adam, we have been conditioned in our cultures to dominate one another. And so the world has been focusing on one group dominating the other group, and this is totally out of God's will. We are never supposed to be dominated by any other human, nor are we supposed to dominate another human. And this is going on all over the world. Russia, Ukraine, religion versus religion, politics versus politics. Okay, it's one group trying to dominate the other group. All of these wars are a result of an attempt to dominate. And that's why everyone needs this teaching so badly, because we need to understand that when you oppress them, you're oppressing yourself. Okay, all of you are the image of God, same substance. So if you hate a human, you hate God. The Bible says no man can say he loves God and hates his brother. If any man says he loves God and hates his brother, he is a liar, the Bible says. Okay? This is why we must stop trying to rule people. We are designed to rule in an area of gifting. God says, I want you to rule the earth. Plants, fish, birds, animals, trees. Okay? Never to dominate people. We are to be the dominators of earth, the standard setters of earth. Okay? Our kingdom is the sovereign execution of power over earth, and it's exercising our authority. And the first thing God gave man was the kingdom. Let them have mamlakak over the earth. Okay? So, now remember in the first episode we talked about how we are our own ideas. We really need to study this, because if we don't change our ideas, we will never change our life. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stretch your ideas, because you need to understand that you were created by God to be the governing authority on earth, but not over people. People are supposed to be attracted to your gift. There's a lot here. Okay, you were designed by God to be a king, a ruler, not a follower. Look at this picture. Sheep are one of the dumbest animals on earth. Sheep do not have a leader. Some flocks have rams or male sheep, and they can kind of direct the herd in certain situations, but there's no real sheep leader. Sheep have a strong instinct to follow the sheep in front of them. When one sheep or any sheep goes somewhere, the rest of the flock just follow, even if it's a bad idea, like over a cliff. Okay? They are very social. They stay together. Sheep also, they don't look around when they eat. They just look at their food. Or sometimes they look at each other, and this makes them easy targets. Okay? They flock together, and that also makes them easy to move or drive them where you want. Okay? If you don't watch them, they overeat. In other words, they are stupid. They are easily manipulated. That's why they need a shepherd. If you leave them to themselves, you put them at great risk. Sheep are extremely dependent on the shepherd for direction and care. Basically, every other animal has some form of leader. That's why God says you have become like sheep gone astray. You're following anything, any culture, anyone's ideas, anyone's teaching, anyone's philosophy. God is saying we are falling over the cliffs of life, like the blind leading the blind, because we don't understand the kingdom. There's a saying that goes, an army of sheep led by a lion will defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. In other words, leadership can transform the followership into warriors. The right kind of leader can transform cowards into bold fighters. The right kind of leader can transform depressed people into enthusiastic people. Leadership is so important because it can literally transform the attitude and mentality of the followers, and they can become unbeatable. So that's my hope and desire for those listening to this episode. I want to transform you into the kings you were born to be, the rulers you were designed by God to be. You were not designed just to make a living, pay bills, and die. You were created by God to make a difference in your generation, to leave your mark on history and change the world while you're here. We need to transform into lions, not sheep. Okay? The lion is an amazing creature. There are only two animals God identifies himself with. Two. The first one is the eagle, and the second one is the lion. Both of these are leaders in their kingdoms. The eagle is the king of birds. No bird is greater than the eagle. In fact, the eagle eats other birds. No bird eats the eagle. The lion is the second animal, okay? God says, I am the lion of Judah. He never says, I'm the dog or the cat or the elephant or the giraffe or the squid or whatever. So why does God identify himself as the Lion of Judah? Why does he identify with these two animals? Because he created them, and he put in them, both of them, qualities of himself. So both of them are dominators. So if you want to become successful, I suggest you study the lion and study the eagle. But let's look closer at the lion. This is a strange animal. First of all, it's not the tallest animal in the jungle. The giraffe is 5 times taller than the lion. The lion is not the strongest animal in the jungle. Even though a lion can crush a human head like a grape, the gorilla's bite is twice as strong. A gorilla can lift 1,800 pounds, and they've been documented to throw with 1,000 pounds of force. The lion is not the biggest animal, okay? Elephant weighs about 10,000 pounds. Lions weigh about 500 pounds, so the elephant is 20 times bigger. The lion is not the most intelligent animal. In fact, it's not even in the top 10. Chimpanzees are smarter. Dolphins are smarter. Elephants are smarter. Crows, pigs, squirrels, octopus, even rats are smarter according to science, and yet the lion would eat all of them. Lions destroy chimpanzees, elephants, giraffes. So you see, what I love about the lion is that he destroys all the excuses we have for not being a leader. You don't need to be the strongest or the tallest or the smartest or the most powerful to be a leader. So stop making excuses. The lion cancels all the excuses you have. He's still the king of the animals. Which means when the lion shows up, everybody gets nervous. Okay? The elephant becomes nervous when this animal shows up. Why? Because the lion has something that makes him the leader. The lion is the king for one reason, because of attitude. The lion is the king because of attitude. Attitude, therefore, is a product of belief. So the lion believes some things about himself, and that changes the way he behaves. He has this strange confidence that makes him dangerous. So when he sees any animal, he's not afraid because of his belief system. The belief system is the secret to becoming great. If you fail, it's because of your belief system. If you succeed, it's because of your belief system. So, the lion believes some things about himself, and his confidence in his belief system makes him act with confidence and authority. And that's why I deal with your ideas, your beliefs, why you need to understand who you are and why you're here. So, I want to look further into this animal, okay? Now, the difference between a leader and a follower is attitude. Write that down. Attitude is natural. It controls your behavior. It determines your entire future and the course of your life. It opens doors. It creates opportunity. And your attitude also determines the limitations you put on yourself. Attitude, therefore, is your life. Your attitude comes from your belief. So let me give you the biblical word for belief in the Greek New Testament. It's the word pistis, P-I-S-T-I-S. Pistis means belief. We translate it as faith, okay? Faith means belief. That's all. Again, don't overcomplicate it. When Jesus healed people, what did he say? According to your faith, let it be done to you, your belief, not your intelligence, not your ability, not your bank account, not your social status. According to your faith. What is faith? Belief. You are right now a victim of your belief. I don't care what you want to become, you are stuck in your belief. Confucius said, the man who says he can and the man who says he can't are both correct. Now, you cannot fake belief. You know, we see this in real life. People say, I'm blessed, and they're broke. They say, I'm healed, and they're sick. A lot of times, religion makes you a liar. This is a problem with religion. Sometimes we confuse presumption with faith. So let me explain belief to you. There's a verse of scripture I want you to think about. It's a verse that really talks about attitude and belief. You cannot believe beyond your belief system. Now, I'm going to go through this very quickly because I want to show you something. So write this down, please. Philosophy is a product of ideas. Philosophy means your belief system. Philosophy quite literally means the love of wisdom. We get the word philosophy from two Greek words, philos, or love, loving, and sophos, wise. It literally means love of wisdom. Okay? In other words, it is to love your thoughts and think about them deeply until you believe them. You live and act in accordance with your belief system or your philosophy. And your belief system comes from your ideas. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to attack and challenge your ideas. Our ideas are thoughts that communicate belief. Read books. Get books from smart people. They are a collection of years of ideas. When you buy a book, you buy a chest of ideas. You buy years of schooling. You buy decades of experience in a book for 15 or 20 bucks or whatever, okay? Some of our ideas need to be challenged. You will never change until you are exposed to new ideas. This is why we don't grow, because we don't challenge or change our ideas, because we keep watching TV too much, and TV just repeats the same ideas all the time. And if you watch too much TV, you become exactly what TV is. Read more, watch less, okay? So Proverbs 27:3. There's a few translations of this. I'm going to go over two of them. As a man thinks in his heart, or as a man calculates inwardly your true beliefs, so he is. That is what you are, your belief. Your belief is more important than your words or your actions. Your belief will actually either improve or worsen them both. Now, some people quote the King James incorrectly, and they say that as a man thinks, so he is. That's not true. It says, as a man thinks in his heart. The word heart there is important. It means sub-mind. Sub means what? Below. Now, I lived in Los Angeles for a while, and I studied theater and acting and production, and my acting coach used this term, masking. Masking refers to this sub-mind concept. Masking is when you're trying to convey or portray one emotion while you really feel something different. Example, someone you don't like gets a promotion, and you hate this person, but you're trying to mask that you're happy for them, okay? Someone is talking about something you could care less about, and you're trying to mask that you're interested or that it's important, okay? You even think about your face. Is your face right? You think about, am I portraying the right emotions to this person? But the person almost always picks up on the sub-mind or your true self. It's hard to control the sub-mind. In psychology, it's a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is what you're using right now to listen to me. Your subconscious mind are the things you decide to believe or reject. When you believe something deeply, it gets stored in your subconscious mind. So you don't change until the content of your heart, your soul, your subconscious mind changes. Now, in the Bible, your heart is not the thing that pumps blood. Okay? The word heart in the Bible refers to your head. So when the Bible says, out of the heart, the mouth speaks, Matthew 12:34, Luke 6:45, your chest doesn't talk. It's not talking about that. It's talking about your subconscious mind. The word used in both these verses and in almost every other verse throughout Scripture is the Greek word cardia. We get the English words cardiac and cardio from it, but it has a much deeper meaning in Greek. It means mind or emotions, thoughts, appetites, character, the inner self, where you feel emotions, where you make choices, your sub-mind. Even the Hebrew word for heart, lev, means the same thing, okay? What is stored in your subconscious mind is where you live from. Let's use a modern example, okay? Your subconscious mind is your hard drive. Your conscious mind is your desktop. This is why I don't believe people's conscious mind, because it only shows me what you want me to see. And we go to church like that, don't we? We dress differently. We act differently. We speak differently. We're more aware of how our body is positioned and how we act. That's not the real us. That's not how we act when we're home. Okay? That's your desktop. Your real life is your hard drive. The hard drive contains every bit of information on the computer. Okay? It determines what the computer can and cannot do. It's all on the hard drive. So you never trust the desktop. You are not what you show people. You are what you stored. Where have you been getting your ideas from? That's the question. Now, I'm not going to go into faith in this episode, but I want to touch one thing about faith, so let's just read it. Romans 10:17. The most correct English translation is this. Then faith comes from hearing. Stop reading. And hearing through the word of Christ. Let's read it slowly. Faith comes from hearing, comma, and hearing through the word of Christ. Faith doesn't just come from the Bible. What is faith? Belief. You believe what you store, what you hear all the time, what you watch all the time, what you read all the time. Okay, so a new hard drive comes like a blank slate. So once you get it, you got your computer, what do? You download programs, ideas on the hard drive. And whatever you download is what it is. So what we need to do if we want to become like the lion is we need to go through the process of reformatting, reprogramming, and even deleting. I was raised by two parents who were heavily abused in different ways. Now, I love them dearly, and I learned some of the most valuable lessons in life from them that I teach to my son. My parents had it much worse than I had, but they carried a lot of their trauma into their marriage and into their parenting. I am a product of a broken home. I was 15. I had a lot of misconceptions about how relationships work, how parenting works, what love means, what's really important. I was programmed by different religious leaders my entire life. I was programmed by society, a community, and a culture that all produce their own beliefs and they promote certain lifestyles and what they say is important. I had downloaded so much junk, I wasn't running correctly or operating correctly. I was just going through the motions. I was a Christian, but I was becoming more and more miserable. And I thought, well, I guess this is just my life, And I almost accepted it until I picked up a new program from the manufacturer. It's called the Bible, and it's the Constitution of a kingdom country. And I began to download new ideas, and I had to delete my entire culture. I even had to stop being an American. You will never change until you stop being what you've been. Our countries and our cultures have reduced us. That's why we accept corruption as normal. That's why we believe in God, but we still lie. We sing songs on Sunday, and then we cheat on paperwork on Monday because we have become a part of our culture's programming. You will never change until you have a complete delete and reprogramming. Now, how do we do this? Well, what helped me change the most was the understanding that I am exactly what I store. Now, some people will listen to this and they'll forget it. And then next year they will be exactly the same or worse. No progress, same complaints, same issues, same bills, same status because they haven't downloaded the message. Lions. Lions are amazing. Surrounded by elephants, and he is not afraid. The elephant is 20 times bigger, way more intelligent, way more powerful. And look at this lion, no fear. Why not? His philosophy, his belief, his faith. He looks at that elephant with all that power, all those brains, all that might, and he simply thinks, lunch. This is what you are. You are a lion. Jesus said, I am the Lion of Judah. Not the elephant, not the dog, not the cat, not the bear, not the parrot. Lions eat elephants. Jesus also says, as the Father sent me, So I send you. You are a lion. Every problem you face is lunch. Every dream God gave you, as big as it is lunch. The lion reduces the elephant to a meal in his mind. This is powerful, and we have the same power. You can make anything, anything, if you want in your mind. This is why the lion is the leader. So look, this elephant here is surrounded by lions. He's gone. All those leaders will bring him down. The king of the jungle is working. We need to stop calling things problems and instead call them elephants. The lion's belief system changes the way he sees that huge elephant and he attacks it. So, leaders don't see through their eyes, they see through their belief. You're not supposed to live by your eyes. Our eyes see the elephant, but our belief sees lunch. So, you remember how God wanted to save the world and all his children? What did he do? God didn't send a million people, he sent one person. And when Jesus came to earth and solved all of its problems, everything everyone had done and ever would do, the Lion of Judah, okay? Now, quickly, whenever God does something, the way he does it is the most efficient form possible. So God wanted to save the world. And when he saved humanity, he sent Jesus to clean the temple, which is us. So the Holy Spirit, which is God's Spirit, can live in us again. That's born again. That's what Adam lost. Adam lost his natural citizenship in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus restores it. So the most efficient way to clean all the temples was to send Jesus to clean them all at once. That's why Jesus came, okay? To bring the kingdom, clean the temples. And that's why he's the Lion of Judah. The whole world and its elephant of sin, Jesus looked at it and said, I got this. Me alone. Lunch. His mentality dictated his behavior. We live by faith, belief, not by sight. So then, we can't see our future with our eyes. We see it with our faith. God gave some of us dreams. And these dreams are huge, crazy dreams that seem impossible, but with God, they are just lunch. So when a lion sees an elephant, it already knows it's lunch. But it's interesting. The lion doesn't attack alone. This is important. Elephants are not scared of a lion by itself. Elephants have killed lions when the lions are by themselves. Some dreams are so big, they look like they will kill you. So what does the lion do? The lion calls the pride over, okay? And only the lions in his pride come and attack. They hear the call, they see the elephant, and they all think lunch. When the pride shows up, the elephant is done. Life isn't afraid of us by ourselves. This is where we fail because life tells us we have to do it on our own. It's on us. I got to do it, me. Jesus is the perfect example. He is God. He is the Lion of Judah. And he had 12 disciples, 12 close lions. Okay, he had a bunch of other disciples, but he had 12 close ones. He had a pride. Follow me. After God was done with creation, at the very end, he created man. He only saw one thing wrong. He only had one problem. He said, it is not good for this man to be alone. Adam had everything. He had a brand new planet. He had all the agriculture, all the animals. He had everything. And God said it isn't good for him to be alone. He cannot dominate this place alone. So this is a great example of leadership. All lions are leaders. There is no lion in the pride that isn't a leader. This is important. Please stop thinking that religious leaders or successful business people or celebrities or whoever are better than you. No one is better or greater or more anointed than you. You are all kings. All lions are leaders. Okay? Even the lion knows he can't bring the elephant down by himself. So watch what he does. He calls other lions. He doesn't call alligators or hippos or hyenas. You see, we don't understand. He doesn't call any other kind of animal. They call other kings. They call their own kind. So if we're going to dominate this earth, we need others like us. We need other kings. The lion calls what is like the lion. We are all equal, all human beings, all of us, different but equal. But someone has to make the call. I hope and pray other lions are hearing this, okay? I think a lot of you are here because somewhere someone made a sound and you picked it up. That's why you're watching this or listening to this, okay? We can't do life alone. We're not made to. We have to surround ourselves with the right people. It's in the Bible, Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. There is no elephant we can't bring down together. Corrupt governments, broken homes, broken ideologies, degrading societies, flawed religious teachings, even hate and starvation. Okay, these elephants seem insurmountable by alone, but I have no doubt, no fear whatsoever that when we get a society of kings together, they are all just lunch. So look at this picture. The elephant is in trouble. Okay, let's look at how lions eat. First, they find some elephants. Second, they attack one. They isolate one elephant. We must isolate our visions. We can't have multiple visions and try to fulfill them all at the same time. You guys ever know somebody that tries to do everything all the time? You know, they're always starting a new business or a new project or a new adventure or a new job or a new church or new this or new that, or they new house, new whatever. And they end up doing nothing. You're not born to do everything. You were not born to help everyone and solve every problem. Focus on your area of gifting. This is why the devil is winning in so many people's lives. The devil knows that you're too smart to just do evil, so he simply gets you to do what you're not supposed to do. Good things. Good can destroy right. There are things that are good for you, but they're not right for you. There are many elephants in the jungle, but the lions isolate one. Okay, they don't go after two or three, they go after one. They all focus on one. Third, they jump on its back and they dig their claws in deep in the elephant's flesh. Now, when one lion jumps on the elephant's back, the elephant throws it around. Then another jumps on and the elephant throws them around. Then more and he throws them around, okay? Write this down, please. Persistence makes you heavier. The lions hang on. The lion keeps getting back on, even when they get thrown off. And after 30, 45, 60 minutes of this constant battle, the elephant collapses. The weight of the lions increased because of persistence. The lions didn't get bigger or stronger or smarter. The elephant didn't get smaller or weaker or dumber. Okay, the lions simply kept persisting. You need to keep persisting. Fourth, after the lions bring the elephant down, they have to hold it down, or the elephant will get back up, okay? Then, while they're holding it down, one goes over, bites the jugular vein, and crushes it. That big monster with all that power, all that intelligence, all that size and strength is on the ground, dead, conquered, dominated, okay? What do you notice about this picture here? The lions are all females. Females are dangerous. Women are not afraid of the size of a problem. You ever hear the expression, the power of a praying mother? Whatever she's praying for, better watch out. I promise you. If you want something to work, give it to a woman to pray for. Men get tired. Jesus' disciples fell asleep on him multiple times. Women hang on to the beast until it falls. Okay. Fifth, the lion's key to success is the pride. The pride works together for the good of the whole. That means they work together for everyone to eat. The lions bring down the elephant not for themselves alone, but for everyone in the pride. Unity is the key to the success of the pride. It also provides generational preservation. After the lions bring the elephant down, then the cubs come out and begin to eat. Okay? What we do is for our children. What we build is for the next generation. True leaders, like lions, never think of themselves. This is why our countries and our governments are filled with poor leaders, because politicians only think about the next election. Leaders think about the next generation. Very few politicians are leaders, and that's why our countries are so corrupt and broken. Sixth, okay, true leaders don't care if they get the credit. No lion, after it brings down the elephant, struts around, pumps out his chest, and does a dance and says, I clawed him the most, or I bit him the hardest, or I took out his leg. Religion does this. You got people saying, I've been singing in the choir for 8 years and nobody mentions me. I've been cleaning this building for a decade and I don't get any recognition. I work on the video program for hours every week and my name isn't anywhere. What's your problem? It's for the whole pride. We are all supposed to be working on the elephant. True leaders don't care if they get the credit. They just want the elephant down. Lions know they won't achieve success alone, so teamwork is the key to their success. Visions need people. We need to be conscious all the time of our relationships and the importance of them. Some people need us sometimes, and sometimes we need them. There are some people out there that you dislike, that you ignore, that you look past, and they may have something you might need. When multiple leaders work together, they can achieve anything. Also, lions don't keep company with any other kind of animals. They only live with other lions. I would like to suggest to you that you evaluate the company you keep and the people you spend most of your time with. Now, we're supposed to be in the world, not of the world. Okay, Jesus was a friend of sinners. I'm not saying cut off everyone who's bad, but you have to be careful with who you spend your time with. Iron sharpens iron. Okay, evaluate your friendships. Some of them are sheep. How are they feeding your belief, your faith? Because faith comes from hearing. Okay, you are here to do something great. Your belief, your faith, your ideas are the key to changing your life. I know I'm a lion. I know who made me. I know my value. I want to get you to know who you are. Thank you, everybody.
See ya!